God. Hi guys, how are you? Can you hear and see us? Oh, good.
How is everybody doing?
I'm gonna start reading the message from my tea today.
Okay.
There's another. This is the coolest thing. Yogi tea. No, because mine is yogi tea.
Sad.
Yours is not as cool. This one says, live by your inner knowledge and strength. Got it?
Preach.
Right? Preach, Yogi.
Hello. So everybody can hear and see us. Thank you, Donna Marie.
What?
So we have Yeshua and his children today. And I'm going to tell you guys, my room is filled with children. Like never before. I cannot count them. Some are young and I see them playing. The other ones are just like walking around. There's one just sitting here. What's happening?
Good for them that for so long they lived like outside, like in tents and stuff, so children can play outside. You know, imagine this amount of people.
Can you imagine all of those? Totally. They probably had their own like yurt. The kids had a house and they had another one because, oh my God, I can't even. Anyhow, I can't give you a full number. I've seen so many numbers. There's at least like 30 something here, like 36 happening in my house right now that came for this. So, and then there's Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, of course. Mother Mary is here. So, yes, it's not like a kindergarten because most of them are adults, but there are some kids, that never got to be adults. So, not to start on a low note, but yeah, they are playing around and having fun. And Yeshua is just looking at them all proud. Some of them are like wrestling on the floor. So we have a fun crowd today, guys. They are all very excited to talk to you. Very excited that we are getting to do this because I don't know if I've ever seen anyone doing this before. We've heard from Sarah, we've heard from Johannes, right? That is like another timeline of Benjamin in my perception. But like his children like this, that's really, really interesting. So they are all up for answering your questions, focusing on Yeshua and the children today.
Great digital art. The artist.
Thank you. Yes, and it's for sale too.
For sale.
If you want to buy it, like the printable art, so you can download and print it for yourself.
The digital art. And
not this one, but one that you can print for yourself
in high quality and stuff.
We will email you to you if you want, and we are selling it now, like today, for €5.55. Is that what it is? So €5 if you want to buy it. We will send you the link to download, so then you can have Yeshi in your room too. So just PayPal it to us, and then Flavia will email you the art. You don't have to email us because it can be a hassle. So just go ahead. It's €5 if you want. We are probably gonna start selling this on our online store soon. I think we'll start next month.
Yeah,
that's the plan. If we don't get too excited and do it earlier. But we're probably going to have like an Etsy store where you can go there and buy all of these kind of arts that we do. And they're going to be, very inexpensive. And as you can see, it
not
has
as cheap
like...
as this.
No. I feel like this one will be like 11 at least. But it has those blessings, of this light language here. So you'll probably be able to see better if it's closer to you.
So pretty.
It is.
I love it. Okay. Perfect, because my inner child needs comforting.
Good. Yeshua is right there for you, he's saying. He's a very good father. He's starting, very well. As we know, modesty is not a thing he owns.
I am one of them, for sure.
Oh, yes, you are.
I bet many here are incarnates of his children from that timeline.
Absolutely. At least children. But yes, I've seen so many. I've seen that in so many of you, and it's not until you ask or you are, let's say, ready to receive, that I'm able to tell you. But yeah.
Who's Rachel? I felt so connected when you said her name.
She is their 7th daughter. That's interesting. She was born from Mary because, again, most of those are not. She didn't have 30 kids from her own belly, but they adopted, so it feels the same, of course. So she was the 7th one. She was born in France when they were still staying there. She was the 2nd initiate, the 2nd priestess. All of the other ones, apart from Sarah, because Sarah was the 2nd born, all of the other ones were not really interested in the whole sex alchemy and things like that until Rachel. And Rachel was. So she was the 2nd of their children to get initiated in the sex magic kind of thing. And then I was listening to Yeshua saying, what if I told you she was you? How does that feel?
So we are fractals of them as well.
Yes. Yeshua is saying that's a good way to put it.
Sounds like a family reunion.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
boy.
he jumped.
You can sell it on this plate. They plant trees. Ooh, that is super cool.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Can you email me this name so I can remember, please? Because I like this stuff. Will you get questions? Will you get questions from Patreon?
Ow.
Yes. And is your necklace a teddy bear or just a stone that is looking like for me?
It's just a rhodonite. It's not a teddy bear, but
Wow.
I think it's appropriate that you're seeing a teddy bear today. So,
right? My kid with tattoos and piercings and the cool clothes. Was it dead and mom approved?
Any kids? Okay, any kids with tattoos and piercings and cool clothes? Not at that time, they're saying, but it was approved, for them to express themselves as they felt fit, They were always supported in their own expressions of the divine. That's what Yeshua is saying.
Mm-hmm. What does the light language say?
I feel like it's going to say something different for everybody that connects with it.
Yeah.
But you're feeling something, Flavia?
No, I was going to say, especially because each symbol, each light language is
it's like a book
thing on its own. Yeah.
Because each little one of this has like a full meaning.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a huge blessing.
Yeah.
So each one of them is something. So let's say that this is Yeshua's essence. That's like some of his own soul symbols. I didn't know that. I've been drawing those things for like a month now, and it's true. So this is like some of Yeshua's soul symbols. So it's his essence. So everything you can align with him or what he is drawn here.
Cool.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know, Yeshua.
He does like.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear stories from any of the children of what they remember of Yeshua.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Who wants to come forward? Raise your hands. Okay. Well, Sarah is saying that she will get to talk a lot, so she's going to let the other ones do it. Benjamin is coming forward. He's the firstborn in many timelines. And he's saying that they all call him either Abba or Baba. Abba is father, and Baba is like dad, daddy. Abba, it's how Benjamin usually calls him, because Baba started with Sarah. She couldn't say Abba, so she said Baba, and then all of the other children called him Baba because of that. So, but now Benjamin is coming forward and he's saying that Abba is his best friend. He's always been his best friend, and he's never seen him as anything other than that, So it was even hard for him sometimes to comprehend how people felt such a, let's say, a reverence towards him, like he was something different other than just the guy that he was, because he sees him so human, and so grounded. And also, Yeshua was around 20-something when Benjamin was born. and they lived together for like 600 years. So it's 20 something years is a very short period of time. If you think about it, that's what he's saying, And then when he was, when Benjamin was 20, he was kind of the same mentality as he has now. He was all like developed in a way, like when he was like 30 something. So he didn't have this huge difference because Yeshua didn't age as well. So he would be looking the same, when Benjamin reached like 30 something years, that's exactly how they would look. So they would look like brothers. So he's saying that he is his best friend, and that's how he thinks of him. He's saying, I don't need to remember because he's always here. And then he's like coming to Yeshua, and they are like holding each other, which is really cute. I'm not gonna cry today, guys. No. So now I'm asking if someone else, one of the kids, like the little kid. So there's a boy, he's around 7 or 8. I think that's Flavia. When she was one of the kids, there's a whole story there as well. I don't know his name. Do you know his name? Jonah. Is that his name? Well, his name is Jonah. And he's saying that Baba is the best. He lets me... So fun. He's so excited. The boy's so excited. He lets me up his shoulders anytime I want. And he loves that because he's saying Baba is so tall. So, right? So we get to play all kinds of things. And whenever he's calling one of the other brothers, he's speaking his language, which is a mix of like Hebrew with Egyptian and old Provençal kind of language. So there's a name there that I can't understand. Give me like a name, Yeshua, that I can understand. I can call him John. Okay, one of the other boys loves to play pranks on him. That boy is David. David here. So whenever he is up Baba's shoulder, John can't reach him. So he's saying that that's fun. They all have this, It's like he's the best father ever. But yeah.
When I read the question, I had this vision of Yeshua and this boy. They were sitting on a table. Everybody was busy around, but Yeshua was always so centered and so present, and his energy so chill, just like, we are here. And they were eating berries, but
He talked about berries too.
There were many different types of berries, but this boy had his favorite one. And then Yeshua was speaking, like giving him all the best ones, like his favorite one. And
because they had like so many people at the table. Yeah. He was mentioning that. He's saying exactly the same thing. He was telling me about the berries, like Baba always gives me the right berries. And that's so sweet. And he has that very, of course, young energy. That's one of the children that passed away when they were still a child. And that's when they were moving from France to England. And yeah, let's not dive too deep into this before I start crying.
How did Yeshua provide for his large family?
He's saying that there was always work, and also, well, he's saying, I'm a very talented alchemist. And then he's winking at Mary Magdalene because he is that act refers that she is, so she could manifest anything. So he's saying that we always had help, we always had support, and we always knew we were provided for because we were God and we were creating everything. So we always knew that if we moved from one place to the other, we would find people there that would support us and that would receive us in their houses, and that we would find like ways to work and to trade with them. They would do a lot of that. They would like trade food and all sorts of things, and things that they could do. And he's saying that he was a carpenter, that part of the story. So he could build stuff. And Benjamin as well, he trained a little bit on that. Even though Yeshua didn't really like that in his early years, he's saying, he didn't really enjoy doing that kind of job. He learned some things along the way, and so he would do that as well. They could make anything into gold. That's the truth, right? And he's saying that all the communities that they went to, they were practicing sacred economy. So that was just the way that things worked in those places, because they would always kind of travel to places, even though sometimes they would just go totally, so let's just go somewhere, they would travel to a lot of communities that were already based by or supported by Essenes, or like Isis priests and priestesses, so they were always kind of received. People kind of already knew, depending on the place where they went, they knew who they were, so they would already receive him, right? But they would travel to some places where they've never seen anybody. They use different names even, so they would just be totally, incognito, is that the word? And they would just find things, sacred commerce. They will always have things to offer. Actually saying that, well, it plays really well in your favor when you are a healer. You heal someone and then they have food for you.
They gift you stuff.
Yeah.
And I think hospitality was also a very big thing. I'd like to ask about Elizabeth.
The
daughter?
The daughter? She looks like 20-something. She is one that was born from Miriam as well. She was born in England. I think she was the 11th. Miriam is nodding, the last one that she had from her own body, And she's saying that she lived in that area. She learned so much with what is the name? Let's say the witches of the area. I forgot how they are called, the shamans in that area with I think Scotland, exactly. Not exactly England, it's Scotland up there. And Ireland, but mostly Scotland and a little down in England. Sarah lived there for a while as well in some of the timelines. So she learned a lot. So she was a healer, she was a shaman, she was one of the initiates as well. She lived 300 something years, she's saying, until she decided that she didn't want to anymore. The Druids, yes, that's the word. Thank you. So she learned a lot there, and she taught a lot. She's saying that there are some legends that mix her with another deity from that area. So I don't know exactly the name, but some deity that works with the earth and the herbs, like the divine mother of that kind of thing, that kind of magic, that kind of alchemy. They say that they refer it to as her. Not Bridget, someone else. I asked if it was Bridget first. I think Bridget has a tie with Sarah, actually.
Do they have something to share about hybrid children?
They said they had many of those. I think it ties with some of Don's question. Because he asked, what is the primary difference in the roles of children born of traditional conception and those of light conception? And that's kind of what he's mentioning here. That's what Yeshua is saying. That some of the children, they were born with some different galactic DNA. And for some of those, Yeshua and Mary were simply just the vessels which through the energy would come. So they didn't have as much of Yeshua's DNA, in a meaning, right? They would have, it's still Yeshua because it's a fractal of him. It's a part of his higher self, we could say. But it's like the Lyran feline fractal of Yeshua would come through and would modify Yeshua's sperm so it could have that signature. And at the same time, Mary Magdalene would have to be aligned with the same fractal of her, which is also, let's say, a divine part or a twin flame of Yeshua in a different timeline. So that's Lyran feline. She would be downloading that same essence, and her Lyran feline self would be modifying her egg. So then her body could accept that hybrid children. She's saying that that's a very powerful, intricate alchemy. But they did practice it. Sarah is one of them, Pleiadian. That's why she was whiter than everybody else in the area. Also, Horus is one of them. He was really white as well. People didn't even accept him in the places because he was completely different, with blue eyes and things like that. Not only like an albino kind of children, but they had like a different kind of thing in them. And it still happens today. Even when we are not fully aware of it, they did that with such awareness that it made it easier for her body to hold the child, and for the child when they are born, it's easier for them to adapt to Earth when you have that awareness, because like they are already open to that awareness. I'm sorry. So, but it still happens to this day when we have a children, and at that point the same thing happens with Yeshua, and that happened. You know what I mean? We could have a whole class about this because this is fascinating.
Does Yeshua or his children have a message for me? I had a big trigger today since I'm stepping into doing more jobs in addition to my spiritual work.
I have Sarah for you. She's saying, I always felt different than others, even within our community of different people. And I can relate to not feeling like you belong in a space, but you commit to being there, she's saying. So what I would do is that I would ground. I would bring all of my attention to my physical body, and I would honor it. Whatever it was telling me to do, I would do it, unless it was slapping someone. So she's saying that whatever loving message the body was sending, whatever she could compromise with, even sometimes, she would just do it. So if it was leaving an environment, if it was voicing her truth, and she's saying, in your case, being yourself is the point. That's what your inner child is scared of, Sarah is saying. She's scared that in that space she won't be able to be her, and she's fought so bravely to be able to trust who she is and to love who she is, that she doesn't want to walk into an environment where she's not accepted. And she's saying your inner child wants you to accept her and validate her. That's all it is. Even if the other people are not, you can tell her, be present with her and tell her, I'm here for you. And yes, we might be different than them, but it's okay. And she doesn't have to be scared to be her in front of others. She's saying, don't hold that back. If you have something witchy to say, just say the witchy thing. They will adapt or they won't, but just honor yourself. And she's saying, I hope this helps you, sister.
Were they all light conceived?
What do we mean by light conception? What is the idea there? Is that no sex or more light infused in the act of sex? Because we have so many ways to go about this. So when we talk about light conception, I would like many people to answer so we can get like a consensus. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to you? Yeshua wants to know, actually. What is light conception? Donna Marie, I'm already speaking. Yeah. Even Esther. Okay. Let's see other questions. Let's see one of Dawn's here. In today's web image, what does the light language symbol above Yeshua's head mean? I love that you're asking, because that's a symbol that I got. Well, I got a similar one. They always kind of shift in a way. When I was visiting France, I saw a symbol looking like that so many places. Do you remember that? It looks like an omega with a cross.
Yeah.
It's the symbol of the divine womb. And everywhere you go, oh my God,
yes,
people there know what's up and they have history, and I'm going to find it. Just saying. In Mary Magdalene's crypt that they have there, in her church, in the cave where she lived for how many years. This symbol is everywhere. and I was already receiving that that image before. So it represents the sacred womb, so that light language, it has again thousands of meanings, that whole book in one image, but it encompasses the place which created life, so that's why it's there.
Yeah. Ludmila answered, I guess you already answered about light conception. For me, it's hybrid conception.
Yeah, so not all of them. Some of them were really human, some of them were not planned. he's saying when you have 11 kids of your own, at least one of them is not going to be planned. So
Yeah.
not that he didn't know or they didn't know that would happen, but it wasn't a whole like ritualistic kind of thing that brought them through in a way. But some of them were conceived in a more alchemic space. But she's telling me she did have a light conception as well, like the church talks about or whatever. When Yeshua was traveling and they had an encounter, just calling it an encounter, in spirit with their light bodies. So she got pregnant as that as well. That makes a lot of sense.
Did any of the children go through a rebellious stage?
Yeah, she's like, oh yes. He's saying, have you heard of teenagers? Most of them did. What are you doing? You're trying to find the symbol? We can post it later. They're gonna love to see it, I think.
Because I know I have the picture just
but there's so many. I have it too on my phone.
Yeah, and I have the pictures of friends.
So much too. The best. She's saying, Yeshua is saying that yes, most of them did have at least a little period of it. He's saying that Benjamin didn't as much because he was a very quiet, kind of more on his own.
He was born on his 30s.
Yes, in a way, and also he was not shy is the word. I'm trying to find a way to define him. And he's just laughing at me. He's like, go ahead, try to define me. But Sarah went through a phase, yes, when she was older and married, where she just, there are some timelines. You are going to learn more about that on the book, but some timelines where she lost her husband. So it was a very hard time. So she didn't want to have anything to do with spirituality, So then she didn't want to have anything to do with Yeshua, with Mary Magdalene. She just went through that phase where she couldn't take care of herself or her children. So then she thought she wasn't good enough. So she had that, it's not that she didn't want to have anything to do with them. It's that she felt like she was failing them. So she went through a phase where she just became like a hermit for a while. That's one of the timelines. But most of the children did, he's saying. They all went through that moment where the hormones are going a little crazy and they just want to, go a little crazy. And we let them go a little crazy as much as it was safe for them. And we would have a firm hand as well. And then when he's saying we would have a firm hand, Mary Magdalene look at him like this. It's like, we. Like she would have a firm hand and she would have to have a firm hand with him. So then he would have a firm hand with them, because he was always so, like Flavia said, so chill. So yes, you can have it, And Mary Magdalene's like, no, you can say yes to everything. So
creates character. Let them.
Sure. Anyhow.
Yeah. Bob is the best.
Right.
Priceless.
So cute.
How did the children perceive the time of discernment when they started to feel it was time to flee from the family? How did Yeshua and Mary Magdalene take it?
Well, sometimes, for example, he's showing me that sometimes Yeshua and Mary knew that they wanted or, let's say, felt guided to be somewhere else. And some of the children had friends and families, in the place that they were staying. And they didn't want to move from that place. So they would just stay. And for some of them, I feel like most of them, they learned a lot of the tricks Yeshua is calling that Yeshua had of communication, and so they could one way or another kind of bilocate and see each other, because Yeshua is saying, thinking about it right about now, phones will be awesome. Would be awesome at that time, but they didn't have that. So they had like letters and things like that. But anyways, they always respected them if they were of age, is what Yeshua is saying. Of course, they would not just leave a child like 5 years old. Oh, I want to stay here with my friends. Well, you cannot, but if they were of age and they wanted to stay, they could. And they knew that it's their own divine path. And they would also, we're talking about Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. They knew they had contracts with those souls for as long as they were married. They had a whole like ceremony. Let's talk to them. The ones they were going to bring through, and they had awareness of thousands of timelines. So they kind of knew. They knew that the time would come. It's like, oh, this one is not going to be with us forever. That meaning they might stay, or they might go somewhere else, or they might leave the body. And also there was the awareness that they are always going to be with us, because they are a part of us. They always will be a part of us, so we can't be apart from them. So Yeshua is saying that sometimes it was not 100% easy, you might say, to balance the human and the awareness, that they had, because the human you misses them, he's saying. The human you grows used to having them there all the time, and then they're not anymore. So the parts of you that are connected with time and space, they grieve. It doesn't matter how far apart or how long it takes for them to re-find each other in the physical, so that meaning children that stayed behind or traveled or died. So he's saying that they grieved every time. Of course, they would leave and they would cry, and they knew, in their essence, of course, they knew that that's exactly what they planned and exactly the roles that they had to play for each other. And they enjoyed every single second with them. Even though sometimes they wouldn't have like this one is going to stay with us for 12 years. No, they just had a feeling. They knew, and when time was approaching, because both of them, they lived in the now for, they always lived in the now, always present in the moment. That's giving the ability that both of them had to look through timelines. It's a little confusing to explain. Some of you have experienced this, Yeshua is saying, so then you know what it is, that you are 100% here, but you can see everything that ever was, everything that ever will be. So there's a little thing with that, he's saying, with balancing all of it and knowing that they are their own gods and that they can have their own experiences, and we have to allow them to have all of those experiences, even if it would be heartbreaking for us. He's saying we can talk more about that if you're interested, but let me know.
So actually, all the children are in this group now, children asking questions to themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's appropriate.
I just saw me almost pulling Flavia down Yeshua's shoulders and falling on her face.
Yep. I saw that she was like, you're pulling her foot. And Yeshua's just laughing all the whole thing, right?
So trippy to think of it like that, Ludmila.
Right.
Is there a child that I was living as? Eva asks.
They say that we relate to what we kind of choose to. There is a lot of things, because there's a part of you that is Mary, right? And that's the strongest one that I see for you too, Eva. But yes, there is one in the Americas. So it's like we have those fractals, right? Because for me, for example, the first thing that I remembered in my awakening was being Sarah. And then I started having remembrances of Mary Magdalene and other beings recognizing me as Mary Magdalene. I was like, nope, that's not going to happen. Pamela being one of them, So you go like, oh, so I have this fractal too. So the more we just allow, we open our hearts, it's like, okay, I can be both, I can be many of them. It's fine. The easier it is for us to integrate them. But I see a child as well. He looks indigenous. I think it's a boy. Not sure. In the Americas, in like Peru or something, or what we call Peru now, Eva.
What kid would place gum in their sister's hair?
Well, they didn't have
David.
gum that at that time, but it would have been David.
John.
He's like, what?
Prankster.
Are you doing this to me again? He's like having an argument with you now. You were the one that was always triggering me and doing things, and then you will go and run to Baba and he will hold you.
Well,
you were 17, so
yeah, and the way you react to things is your responsibility, not mine.
Oh boy, here we go with this.
I would love to hear stories of how Miriam was as a mother.
Really amazing. Now it's Yeshua, the best mother he's ever seen. And my mother was Mother Mary. So he's saying that she had this natural ability to, first of all, recognize a room as soon as she entered it. She could place the energy of the room with a second. So she knew how to balance that energy so well, he's saying. So she could just enter a room and she would just bring everybody to the same frequency so easily. And that was a very good way to calm everybody down, when anything was happening and anything like that. She was very assertive as well. And she was always like a friend for them also. At some point, she would have to be like the firmer hand in the situation, even though they would share this role very well. They kind of joke about this a lot, but they would both have, they would both play kind of both roles. All roles, they would just kind of share everything, Yeshua and her. But he's saying she was born a mother. So that's just her essence. That's just what she is. So she was very good. It's very, very easy for her to be a mother, he's saying. And she's blushing.
I'm really curious about the Celtic Druid deity that was similar to Elizabeth XI's child.
Yeah.
Right? I looked it up. There's one called Airmead. That is of the plants, herbs, and healing.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Airmead.
I bet Anya, if she's watching, she's like, nope, that's not how to say it.
Probably not. Maybe the herbal medicine druid was... Oh, there's one here. Nimue, rather than Bridget. Gonna look it up. I don't know which one.
Nimue is like the one from the TV show, right? Isn't
her
name Nimue?
The Cursed?
Mm-hmm.
The show? 33 watching now. I get I'm told I will be rebirthed by a heavenly birth canal. What is the meaning of heavenly birth canal in my case? Can anybody or of Yeshua's family provide some insight on it?
Well, I think it's who did you hear it from and what concept was that told to you? We would need more of a background on where your beliefs are with this, is what Yeshua is saying. How do you feel about it? What does it mean for you? And how do you want to go about this?
Someday in the future, I hope you will consider releasing this video to the public. So much information about Yeshua that might help folks connect with the Yeshua we know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that I will put it public after we're done.
God, this is awesome. Was Miri one of his children? I would like to know a story from her. Does she work with alchemy as well?
Yes. They had some Miriams, to be honest. Because that's kind of Mary, the name. So she was born between Rachel and Elizabeth. She was interested in alchemy, not as much. She was more interested in the alchemy of the stars. That's what she's saying. So like astrology, astronomy, everything related to that. She was one of the hybrid children. She was half Arcturian. She's saying no. It's like 1/4 Arcturian, 1/4 Syrian, and a half human. So she was a very peculiar kind of child as she was born. She would levitate. I'm seeing this now. Out of nowhere, the child would be levitating instead of being in her crib. So that's an interesting child to have. Can you imagine? You need to cage the thing for the kid to go to sleep. Otherwise, she's going to be flowing about the... Oh, God. You had some awesome children, huh? So she had like this strong connection with the stars and understanding what the stars mean. And she loved, teaching others about this because she brought this knowledge with her. A lot of information about technology and growth related to this. And she soon chose to, soon she was about like 100 when that happened, but she chose to reincarnate. She wanted to experience a different body with a different awareness. So she incarnated in Andromeda next.
Mm-hmm. Did Mary have an abortion?
Yes, more than one actually. I feel like at least 3. She had one, at least I know of one in France, because that's the one that I relate to. And it was twins. She knew it was twins. I think I told you this story, Ludmila. I don't know if I did. But anyways, because I remember that as being her, and I've been through the whole thing myself. So she was pregnant of twins. They were already 4 months, I think, when she had an abortion. And they were, I think, a boy and a girl. And then she needed a time to herself. She couldn't stay with anyone. She felt all sorts of human things, Yeshua is saying, which is, of course, very normal in that situation. She felt guilty. She felt like she could have done better or different or anything. So that's the time, actually, that she went to the cave in France, and she spent a while there. She's saying from 30 days to 4 months. She lost track of time. So I have this vision of Yeshua and her, and it's like he is sending her off. She knew she would find this cave. She was like the first person. She's saying, I wasn't, but the one that kind of told people about it, to kind of find this place. And she used that as a temple for herself because it reminded her of the place where she was born, so the cave is where she was born, so she felt really home there. And also a cave is a womb, so she was healing her womb at that time. So she spent a lot of time there by herself, just finding peace with her again, she's saying, dealing with her own emotions and her own depression, because she fell into depression because of that. And however long that took, the day she went back, Yeshua was waiting for her exactly at the same place. And it's not because he was there the whole time. He just knew that she was coming back at that day. So he was just there waiting for her, because she couldn't, she's saying she felt so guilty. So she couldn't allow him to love her. She couldn't, be close to him, because she would show love too much for her, and she wasn't ready to accept it. So she needed some time for her. So she just left. And then when she came back, of course, she knew that he would be there anyways. So then I have this image, the other vision of her just running and jumping in his yes, in his arms. And he knew that she was, fully back in a way. And of course that he wanted to be there to support her, but she needed to do that on her own, she's saying. That's one of the stories.
Makes sense, because I always saw myself as Mary, but with so many timelines, who knows? Very interesting.
Yeah.
Did any of the children create an experience where they didn't want anything to do with Yeshua and Miriam? And could they talk about it and offer perspective for my own situation with my child?
They're saying that in moments of their lives, yes, like they said about Sarah, and they knew in their hearts, of course, that she was going through her own thing and that she needed space and time to deal with her own shadows, her own demons. And they just gave her that space, they held space for her and just let her do her thing, because it it's just the way that things happened, and they knew that she was in an intense amount of pain. They wish they would be able to help her, but they knew they weren't. They knew it was something that she needed to do on her own, and that was very hard. They were not on the same country to be with her, but they would have contact all the time. Again, they could bilocate. She was a master bilocator as well. She would see beings just being there, with her physical eyes all the time. So she could barely even notice if someone passed away, for example, because it's just the same thing for her. She could touch them anyway because she was so in between the whole earth reality. And then she closed off when that happened, when her husband died. She closed off 100%. She didn't want to see him. So she closed all of her senses. So she couldn't see them anymore, and Yeshua couldn't come and talk to her. Even though he would come, she couldn't see him. She couldn't experience him at all because she didn't want to. So she needed her time. And they said that it wasn't easy for them, of course, because they could sense and feel all of that pain that she was going through, but they knew that it was her choice and her decision. So they held space for her for as long as it took, and then she found her way back, the way back to her own self, to her own mission and her own love. So that's when they got to get back in her life, and it took a while, and it wasn't easy. And Mary's saying that, of course, as a mom, you want to be there, you want to be present, you want to be able to support them, you want to be able to know what's going on, and they won't let you, and that hurts. So as a mother, I would let myself grieve for that, and also live in the present moment, and be present with me and what I was feeling. And I also, by that time, she's saying, I will let myself be comforted. Is that how you say it? It's like she would let Yeshua comfort her and hold her and her friends and family and things like that, so she wouldn't hold that to herself, and she would accept other people to help her navigate it. And she knew that it wasn't forever, because their hearts are so connected, and she trusted Sarah's plan.
And I see Yeshua talking about you and talking about Mary as a mother.
That's why I needed to take a deep breath and not cry.
I'm in so many timelines right now.
I know.
I feel so connected to Miriam and her role with her children. Is there any advice for me that would help with me and my current children in this lifetime?
Yeshua is saying, be who you are. That's all they need. They chose their mom very, very well. Trust that and trust their plan. And know that you are doing exactly what you're supposed to do. You are very guided. You are always in your heart. So just trust that. Don't let overthinking just, sway you from your truth. Tap back into your heart. You're doing very, very well by them, he's saying.
Can we have fractures of many of the Yeshua's family?
Yes.
I have a lot of different types of relationships with family members.
Absolutely. Yes. Totally.
I feel I've been getting it from downloads. I feel like I'll be lifted and taken up at some point and then being put down again.
There's more like Metatron, but being put down again instead of being kept up there. I don't understand it. Yeshua is saying, be present in the moment. Don't think about what's going to happen. He's saying, navigate with the downloads that are occurring now and be present with this moment, not what the future might hold. Because when time comes that this kind of upgrade is going to happen for you, you'll be ready for it. So it's not going to be scary. It's not going to be hard. It's just going to happen, and your body's going to deal it as your body's going to deal with it. And the thing to do is always stay grounded, stay present, like he just thought about it, right? Like the class. It was this month. Yes, the grounding, joy.
Yes.
So he's saying there's a lot of things there that can help you with this. Just be 100% present and allow those downloads, as you're saying, all those challenges to come through for you. Grab what serves you in this moment, and the rest, just be sure that it's going to come as it's going to come.
Did the children remember their origin? Were many of them channels, for example?
Yes, they did. When they are supposed to, in a way, like when their plan was to do so. Some of the children was just here for the joy of earth, just because they wanted co-parents, and they just incarnated because of that, and no alchemy, no mojo or whatever, they were
Mojo.
just there for the fun, and that's just how they lived. And the ones that were more connected with that kind of work, we'll say, they all had their own different roles as well, he's saying. Some of them are saying that they will make fun of Yeshua and Mary, and the other ones that were always like being witches and doing things like that. But they all respected each other's roles very, very beautifully. There was this flow in the family that comes, of course, from mom and dad, right? That are in flow with each other. They are always in this. They walk in a room, you can see their energy playing together. You can sense them. They are like this magnet, that they are always flowing with each other. Even the way they walk, the way they speak, there's this, I can't even explain. I haven't seen that yet in person. To put you on a spot, if you're still here, Anya, that's what you and Pamela have, that kind of symphony that you can't explain with human words, right? It's just so beautiful. That's what they had or have. So the children knew that that's the kind of support they would get, that's the kind of balance they would have. So everybody respected each other in their own thing, even though, family happens, right? And they would make fun of each other and things like that would happen. But anyways.
I think you mean Miriam had miscarriages, not abortions.
Yes, exactly. Miscarriages.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Sorry if this is too personal, but my first memory is being in a crib and sitting and looking out of it. But I was just a few months old and physically couldn't have done that. What happened?
John is saying, because you're creepy as fuck. Oh, they have this really sweet thing going on. And then he actually say, come on, treat your brother well. He's saying because you are alien, more alien than most. And that's a thing. You might have like very early memories. You might have had like a weird time as a little baby, like a toddler, but I feel like that's what it is. Like you have a lot of angelic DNA is what he's calling it, but he means galactic as well. It's like angelic is in his terms like Arcturian.
I feel so strongly the connection between Yeshua and Mary, and feel the connection has been present with different people, partners in this lifetime. Can you talk about this and how you experienced this?
He's saying that the thing with them is that they first feel themselves complete with them, and they love themselves, like Yeshua is saying, I love me, I respect me, I honor me, and I've learned this. He's saying nobody is truly born with that kind of knowledge on earth. We are still changing that programming and that paradigm now as us. So you learn to love yourself and accept yourself. And he's saying it's been a journey for me. And it's the same for Miriam. She went through her own thing and she learned to love herself, every aspect of her, exactly as she is. So when they are together, they complement each other. They complement each other's personalities and individualities, but they don't complete each other because they are complete within themselves. So they are never looking for that completion somewhere else. Right? So there is no space for karma when that happens, because you are not giving too much or receiving too little. You are not creating any kind of friction with anything, because you are you and you accept and love you exactly as you are. And that other person that is a mirror, perfect, divine mirror of you understands and sees that and respects and loves that. So they can love you as they love themselves, because that's the only way you can love other people, is as much as you love you, and that's how much love you will accept. So if you unconditionally love yourself, every relationship is like this for you, because you always accept exactly that same amount of love from other people. So that's the thing that we are all kind of thriving towards, that we are all learning, that we are all kind of digging into and trying to bring into a more like a material, realistic human creation. It is that unconditional love and that completion within yourself. So then every other relationship is exactly like that, because that's the thing that you keep mirroring to each other. So even if you are interacting with someone that have not 100% found that peace, that self-love within them, you are still in a overflowing loving relationship with them, because you love yourself, so you are ready to accept all that love. So yeah, I hope he's answering you.
It takes a deep love and trust to allow someone you love and want to support to allow them to be in their own space. Hold them in love and light. Yes.
Absolutely.
She says, I'm going through that right now.
Yes. Yeshua is saying that's a role that so many mothers and fathers have to play. And only those who have this connection, he's saying not only those who are mothers, like they have babies, but those who are mothers and fathers in their hearts, only those people that have kind of this role, they fully understand what it means, So he's saying, I know, and I'm there with you.
Yes. What did the children think about having such a famous father?
He's saying that I wasn't famous back then. And the children were all like, oh. Many of them, like, they have this reaction that every time someone puts a picture of him, they go like, oh, there he goes again. He's never going to settle down from this one. People putting images of him everywhere. So he wasn't famous yet. He got famous afterwards, after Constantine, actually. Mm-hmm. That was when things started like really boiling up for him, and he was still alive back then, right at that time when they kind of edited the Bible and everything. And if you think about it, he never aimed to change anything. He just let things roll as they would. So think about that.
He would for sure be a TikToker if he like
if it was today. He's saying, "Oh, I am."
Imagine him doing the dances. Oh my god!
He's saying, he pointed at you and he's like, "I'm here on YouTube, aren't I?"
Not doing TikTok.
So many. Yeah, not yet. He said. I have some convincing to do.
Yeah. Good job. Good luck.
Good luck.
What did the children... I just read it. The grounding boundaries and joy on earth was fantastic class. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Another question for Miriam. Was she a teacher? Sorry.
Was she a teacher
about the stars on earth? You connected...
Okay.
What?
No.
You connected it to her. What did she most like? What did she do most of her life?
I don't understand anything. I'm gonna have to read for me. Okay, Miriam as the child, not Mary Magdalene.
Was she a
Again?
teacher?
Why would you name everybody Miriam?
Right,
guys?
everybody.
Stop doing it.
John and does she? So was she a teacher about the
what
stars on earth?
What did she teach? Maybe about the stars
because
on
you said that she did the alchemy and astrology and astronomy and stuff.
What did she do most of her life? She would teach people about that. She's saying it's a lot of the things that you know today. It's because of people like her that kind of had this braiding in a way. That their souls braid with some other essence. And they would bring that. She's saying that she loved to study, so she would go and study. She's saying that she was like that, like a nerd as Yeshua was, because Yeshua was such a nerd. He would always be finding ways to learn another language, to learn like something else. He would always be learning in every community that he was. So she was just like that. She's saying she traveled to Greece, to Egypt. She traveled to India. She traveled to Japan. She's saying that she went many places where she could find other beings that were experiencing the same kind of awareness that she was, and then she would kind of write her own stuff, you know. I feel like she might have had some scriptures that she wrote. She's smiling, she's saying, Earth is not very ready for that yet, but you find it at some point very soon. She has this tomboy kind of energy, you know. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it. She has a very like a androgynous kind of vibe in her, you know. Maybe she's even trans. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Just felt that energy.
What is happening now? Since the new moon, I've been knocked out. Also, it feels like the time that was foretold to me of giant fireworks and when I won't remember a thing. Any guidance?
I felt it now, Suna. So Yeshua is saying that, well, first of all, he's gonna talk, but Miriam wants to have a go because she knows all about the stars and things. He's saying that there's a culmination of intentions happening right now. And that's why you're feeling it so much, because you are such a multidimensional channel yourself that whoever is aligned with that, we will feel it in our body. So he's saying that that's what it is. And then Miriam, the daughter, is saying that the alignment, she's saying she predicted it in her time, even without all of the technologies that you have now. She predicted this exact point of culmination that is going to be happening from, she's saying it's been happening. Well, you need to be a little bit more like specific with what energy you want to mention. She shows me, well, there is the Lion's Gate this year. She's saying something shifted there, and awareness was kind of awakened, she's saying, you know, like a huge, massive awakening of a remembrance of your own divine truth was awakened at that time, and you've been integrating that. So it's like you are downloading your higher self in the speed of light right now. And that is why your body is feeling a little bit all over the place at times, because it can get very overwhelming for your physical self to be going through this. And she's saying that from that point on, we could say it's been happening for longer. She's saying, let's just limit to that, because that's an easy one for you to relate to. From that moment on, day after day, the alignment like that is happening with our galaxy, she's saying, not only this solar system, but the whole galaxy that you are in, there's a huge alignment that is happening with our galaxy and the central sun, she's saying. The source of the source of all life on this planet. It's like we are coming into this alignment. She's showing me these lines, like everything is kind of moving like this, you know, it's like in all directions, all the time, everything is moving. And we are coming to a point with a central sun that is aligning our vision with God within us, because the central sun is us, right? It is source. It is that point that is within us. So she saying that all of that is happening in a very, very personal stage right now, because you are finally getting ready to accept that this body is God. That is the bottom line of all of it that is going on right now, all of it that is kind of, you know, igniting your memory of stuff. It's because you are finally ready to accept, even if one little step at a time, that this body is God too. So God is not only out there, God is not only Baba, you know, God is not only this or that, it's you, and it's physical, it is human right now. So the more you accept there, the more we kind of, she shows me like this engine is like the whole universe working, and there's a sound, and at some point it feels like and right now it's like it's becoming like, you know, and then it resonates with all that we are, so we can find that central sun in us, and we can just expand it and live with that alignment, you know. So she's saying that once that happens, once that alignment goes, and if you are ready to receive, if you are, already like aligned with the alignment, which is the case. If you're here, if you're listening, you are. Good for you. She's very practical too.
Cool.
Yes, it's very like, let's go. If you're watching this, it's happening for you. You are aligned, and then you will start bringing the remembrance of that central sun, that God, that source or universal energy in you from within, and not like looking at the stars anymore. So she's saying that there's a lot, going on with this, and she could talk about this forever. And I just thought that she would be someone very cool to channel.
Yeah. Am I the only one seeing the resemblance with Dolores?
That's true.
D.
She just looked at you, and then she has like a skirt, and she has like a pocket on her skirt because she's smart, and then she's taking a cookie and she's like, ooh. Let's go to one of Don's because he had so many. How many timelines are there? Oh. Uncountable. Infinite timelines. Yeah. Because every time you have a thought, an emotion, any creation, another timeline is created. So infinite timelines.
We got another question on Patreon also. Did the mothers of Yeshua's children have careers or other jobs like nurses or healers?
Yes. In many timelines, Let's focus on Mary Magdalene. And she had her own thing. She was a priestess of Isis. So she was like a very, very powerful sound healer. That's the thing that she would kind of focus on the most because it's the strongest suit she has, she says. So she would really focus on sound healing. And her intuition would always tell her where to go or who to find. And she would, most of the time, she was the one who is like kind of in charge in a way, if it makes sense. It was really more connected like with the Viking kind of ways, right? That the women were like the
providers.
Yes, on the house and things like that. But they always worked together as one too. So Yeshua would be more of the one that would go give lectures, like he would go and teach people in a more vocal way, and Mary would be one-on-one with people. So as Yeshua would be like on the center of the stage doing something and just talking to a lot of people, she would be with the person, and in their houses working with them. She's saying that's what we are changing now, by the way.
Yeah. Considering the time, it was more of a male role to be able to speak to crowds and stuff. Then
I know, and she's saying that exactly now, like all those paradigms are reversing. So the women now, they have a strong role as Mary Magdalene. We are the spoken person of the relationship now, and the man is the one that is more in the background and more like grounding you and things like that. I feel like many people have received that message, by the way, she's saying.
I saw that Omega symbol in meditation once. Not sure why. Connection.
Yep.
Yeshua, the most famous diva to ever exist.
He's like, agreed. I know.
Do they have a message about the divine love templates that most of us here are meant to embody in relationships, romantic and otherwise?
He's saying that's one of the alignments that Miriam was talking about. He's calling her something else. He's calling her by like a nickname or something. I'm asking him because I'm curious. He's calling her my little Mur. Like, is that how you pronounce it? Mur?
Mur?
Miha.
Yeah. Mur.
Yeah. Let me read that again. So that's one of the alignments. He's saying, again, because you are ready to embody God fully with awareness. Of course, you are always embodying God, but bringing that into your awareness and living as that, you are ready to start having that love template, and interacting as such. And he's saying the ones that feel like the most fairy tale-ish are the romantic relationships, because there is this whole idea and things like that. So he's saying that you can already see that in truth with people here, for example, right? With us, he's saying, it's like we are sisters, but there is that the same kind of relationship as you are talking about, that we don't feel like we need to complete each other in anything because we are completed with ourselves. So then we only have that mirroring of each other. So he's saying that that's the age that we are dawning upon right now. Exactly what it is. It is finding those relationships, and leaving them in the physical. So then we can bring back the awareness that love is possible,
Yeah, when I read Divine Love Template, I saw him holding a mirror in front of you, like you are.
Yeah.
The kids are in the Bible as sons of other parents?
They are not in the Bible. They got cut off and they burned it. Literally. Like, not even joking.
Literally.
They ripped the page off and they burned it.
Yeah.
Some of them are still here and there, he's saying. You can understand. If you know the story, let's say paradigms. If you know the stories as he's saying now, and you go and read the Bible and go like, I got it. I'm understanding this. But most of it was just ripped off. And he's saying that actually not all of it. There is a story that someone very close to him wrote, and we still have not only one. Now I'm seeing everywhere. Guys, I'm telling you, the day that they do the thing in the Vatican, you see, I was about to say Vatican and she irked.
She irked.
There is some documentation there. There are some documents in Tibet, the places where Yeshua went. There are documents in France, in Germany, in Brazil, and Chile, or in Peru, somewhere there in the area. There's like stories telling his story, or the family stories that we are not yet fully accessing, but we will very soon, because people are getting to that frequency. It's the same thing with let's say we haven't found Andara crystals until I don't know how long ago, because we were not on the same frequency, so then you can see it. But when you reach that frequency, out of nowhere, the place where you have dig holes forever, they have crystals that you've never seen because you're in a different frequency. So I'm getting a tingling for a hidden document. I know, right? That is fun.
Yeah. What is the message of the family to the family?
They all kind of looked at each other for a second and they giggled and they said, love. That's all they had.
That is so cute.
They are so cute.
Oh, God. That's my favorite part of the channeling.
Yeah. Because they are always like in deep conversation, or everybody wants to talk at the same time. There is like commotion because there are so many, right?
Yeah.
And we don't have all of them here, to be honest, because again, they lived for so long and they would adopt any children ever. So yeah. And then they all just it was cute.
Would daughter Miriam like to share more about Winter Solstice in the 21st and the Age of Aquarius?
She's saying that that's exactly what she just mentioned about that alignment. Yeah. You are seeing it now only from a very narrowed point of view. That's how she's saying it. But the role that this is playing is in the whole freaking universe. Not a single tear drops without moving every single other thing in the universe, she says. Not a drop of rain falls without changing every single other thing in the whole universe. So she's saying, now imagine that in that scale of this conjunction happening, things that don't happen in ages. It's happening now and you are here and you are living it. So again, the plan is coming to fruition. The embodiment of self. It's the age of embodiment of self, not the age of Aquarius, she's saying. She's like, if I could have named it.
Look at both of you here, changing the paradigms.
Changing the paradigms.
Paradigms.
You are changing the paradigms too,
Yeah.
Ludmila.
How would they help their kids ground? Is this, if this was talked about, I will rewatch. It wasn't yet.
Yeshua is saying that they would remind them to be present. They would remind them to breathe. Whoever was interested, until a certain age, they would teach them certain techniques that would help them. And then, when they are very small and you're teaching them how to talk and how to walk, they would already teach them some techniques like breathing techniques and things that they knew that could help them. And it would be just imprinted in them from a very early age. But it would be different from one to the other, because some of them had a harder time grounding and some of them would have like an easier time. And he's saying that there is a play here with divine masculine and divine feminine. If you are leaning towards the divine feminine more, like giving it more of a voice or just embodying it more in their own like essence at the time, you tend to feel more ungrounded. If you are more in the divine masculine, you tend to feel more grounded. And both of them have like not being in harmony, not being balanced, had their own like bad points, we could say, right? If you are leaning too deeply towards the masculine and you have like almost none of the feminine, you tend to come across as aggressive, for example. So there are many things with this kind of concept, he's saying, that they would teach them in ways that would help them understand in their own children minds. Because even though they knew that the human, the vessel was small, and he's saying like this tiny, we knew the grandiosity of the soul. So we would always respect that grace that was in front of us, and we would always welcome them with such honor and humbleness, is that the word? Because we felt honored to be able to birth, some the universe. That's what he's saying. So we would try to come across and we would teach them as they would receive, if that makes sense, right? So they would teach different techniques to the ones that would need different techniques, basically. So they would adapt to the being's need in a way. So he's saying for Benjamin, he was one that was born with that awareness and that kind of that leaning towards balance, and he would always want to balance people around him. He's saying that that's one of the things that he needed to learn in his own time, that he didn't have that responsibility to help other people balance their own stuff, because he could see it so well and he could relate to it so well and he knew how to do it. Sometimes it would be hard for him not to do it, he's saying. But he already was born with that. Sarah was really hard for her to ground, because she was always up here, because she had so much DNA that wasn't human. So they say that they needed to create a kind of pattern for her that would work for her and her needs on Earth, And they say that they do that by having a communication, and understanding first what grounding means. So he just gave a whole class about that, and then finding ways to get them to that point in their own means, and finding their own little repetitions that would help them. So then grounding would be like this, So at some point they kind of got trained very well in this, But that's kind of a thing that was just a day-to-day thing when they were raising the kids, when they are toddlers, they would already kind of sense, right? It's like, okay, so this one is more towards this, so then we can do this to help them, So for example, Mary wants him to give an example because he's being too elusive. He's saying, okay, so when John, for example, was born, we've noticed that he had an inclination for the masculine. He had an inclination to be present with the masculine, and whenever he didn't feel like his needs were met, he became a little aggressive. So he would get angry because he couldn't voice his opinion yet because he didn't have means to communicate. So he would be like, so they would do something very feminine for him, so they would kind of present him with some feminine energy. For example, she's using the example of sound. So she would sing for him to align him, and she would do that for most everything because she's a sound alchemist. But let's say that she would cuddle him, or try to hug him, or they would hug each other. If he was like throwing a tantrum or something like that, they would start like being affectionate with each other. So then they gave that example for him. So he's saying that basically that's how they kind of help them ground, because being present requires you having a place to be present in, right? You need like a foundation, and that foundation is masculine and feminine on earth, or we call it masculine and feminine. So they would find ways to balance those energies. So when they breathe, they have a ground to step on. That's fascinating. And he didn't even cover that in the class. He's saying, you didn't give me time. Come on, Yeshua.
Yeah, like
You wrote
hours.
5 pages. He's saying, we can have a class 2. It's okay.
Thank God for scribes in all timelines. Right. Where in Germany?
He's saying that's for you to find.
Yeah. We need an Indiana Jones adventure.
That would be so much fun. Think about that.
Kathleen McGowan wrote of Mary Magdalene's book and Yeshua's Book of Love that were saved. Yes. It's a very interesting read.
Very cool.
Can I ask to be adopted now?
They're like, yes, we always had you.
Were the children raised mostly in the Essene community? Anyone want to share a story they are fond of from these scenes?
They're saying that the Essene community kind of branched and became other things throughout time, of course, as everything else did. And they're saying that Sarah and Benjamin were the ones that were more connected, the most connected with that root, of the Essenes, exactly there in that region, right? As we know more of it. And they participated in ceremonies, they participated in teachings and things like that. For a while, Benjamin would be a scribe. A scribe, is that how you say? Is that how?
I hope so.
Escrivão.
Yeah.
Himself, that's a job that Yeshua also did for the Essenes. He would transcribe documents and he would translate documents. Yeshua, from this age of 6, he spoke like 3 languages already, because Mother Mary already spoke like a lot herself. So they would teach them that kind of thing. So Yeshua, as soon as he learned how to write, he would translate documents. So that's a cool find, right? That people are thinking that, the Bible is the story of Jesus, but there is like his actual handwriting somewhere, right? People go fucking crazy about that. But anyways, and he's saying that he had that kind of boring job in many places because that's how he learned a lot. So they will let him in the temple if he would transcribe some things. That's kind of the first job that you get there before you become like more initiated as a priest in some of them. So there are a lot of scriptures that he transcribed or translated as well in India. So they kind of grew up in that environment, and Yeshua did, and Mary Magdalene did. But the more they started like traveling, the more they started getting acquainted with different cultures, they're saying. And they are a huge mix, all of them. They are so kind of different of each other, of course, because everybody is. But even the ones that, were born like 2 or 3 years apart from each other, they would always move so much, and they would always like embrace different cultures, that they didn't hold on to only one thing. So the teachings that they were most like connected with, to be honest, they're saying is the teachings of the what we call now the Magdalenas, or the Isis temples, all of the alchemy. that's the thing that they kind of practice the most. Not only like the sacred sexuality, but just alchemy in general. That's the thing that they ended up doing more even than the Essene community, they're saying. But there's a lot there too. We're probably going to learn a lot about the Essenes with Sarah in the book.
Yes. I'm hoping that we can gather as a family this March 2021. Is that a possibility? Can we get to René in the Chateau?
Oh my God.
Is the timing in divine flow? Like,
I'm feeling May, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling March. I think March will be too soon, but I feel like May, there's something going on in May, you know? Maybe we should aim for that.
Yeah.
That would be awesome though, René Le Chateau. Oh my God. I see pictures and I'm like, I know this.
Yeah.
It was the same thing when we were there.
Yeah.
I knew the place better than the girl that was born there. I'm like, oh, we just need to turn here. It's insane. When you go somewhere that your soul knows, it's just so crazy.
But I better keep rush with my
French. Yes. Yeah. Sonia speaks French.
Yeah.
Imagine
me I don't speak French, and then I get there speaking French. Got 5 months.
Oui.
Blue.
Yeah, that's how it sounds for me personally.
I'm starting to feel like sharing truth publicly. My info comes from knowing my heart. My hesitance comes from not having all access to factual proof to back it up. Suggestions?
Who's talking? Give me your name. Do you want to give me your name? One of the children are talking. They have an attitude. It's a girl. She's calling herself Bella. She's saying, what is factual truth or proof? What is truth? Why does your truth need to compare or align with someone else's? Can't it be that sharing your own heart is enough? Why do you think you need factual proof? Because what are you going to find with that? And she's saying there is a book that the media didn't really accept about Yeshua's tomb. I don't know if you've read that one. That's the first thing I read when I was awakening, because I had a vision of Yeshua and I'm like, this can't be possible. So then I tried to find like facts. So then I went to this book. I think the name of the guy is Simcha something.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's awesome. It's like Jesus' tomb, the Jesus family's tomb, something like that. And she's saying the media didn't really have like a huge aha moment with that. And why do you think so? It's a matter of alignment. If you believe what you are listening to now, why don't you believe that other people will believe what you have to share? It's an inner journey, not outside. Mm-hmm. It's not proof you need. It's love, self-love.
Sometimes I listen to these aha moments, ideas of like when the scriptures come out or things like that. I don't think it's going to happen like this. I don't feel it like being such an aha. I think it's already happening so organically that people are opening up so much to other possibilities than the ones they were taught that I feel it's going to be very...
I think in some communities it will be like, oh my God, then people won't believe anyway. You know, it will be organic that people will start believing different things and living closed mentalities, of course. But I feel like at some point, it's like this document. There is like a scientific proof that Yeshua had at least one children. And it's Jonah. It's Judah. It's not even Benjamin or Sarah. And it's not even Yeshua in the tomb to start with. So there is just, again, there's one timeline and things like that. They prove with the DNA that his bones is not even there. But there's just so much that it cannot be someone else. You know, statistically, mathematically, it cannot be another family. It has to be him. And within the orders of that time, if he was the man, the woman in the tomb, if not his mom, he has to be his wife. It's out there. how many people are talking about this besides Dan Brown with, you know, people don't want to know because they don't want to break their paradigms, you know. So when people start wanting to change this mentality, they will, such as we are here now. You know, most of us grew with some other kind of belief, and now we opened up and we go like, oh, so this is true, so this aligns with me more. So I feel like this is going to start really happening. But I also believe that the more we hide our truths, the more it keeps hidden, you know. So I would say just go for it. No one needs proof besides what you trust and believe, you know. And if you are speaking from your heart, just go for whatever it is.
Were many of the children fractals of Mary Magdalene or Yeshua?
We could say so, yes. He's saying that it gives people a mind fuck to think about it like that. But of course, they all had pieces of them, not only in their DNA, but in their soul. And we are all family, he's saying. So we all have like those pieces of us. And he's saying that they had fractals of us as well. So it's all like a huge kind of mix with this.
How am I connected to the part Syrian child? Indira, Himana, and I feel related to her.
Yep, all of you have a piece of her, and she's so eager to work with you. She's saying, I've been quiet for so long. I've been using so many other names. And she feels like, oh my God, just take me as I am. I am Yeshua's and Mary Magdalene's child, and I want to talk. She's saying she's been using her galactic name with some other channels for so long. She's been using Plato. Are you Plato? Plato? Is that how you pronounce it?
I thought you were talking about Play-Doh. I was like, what?
Why is she doing things with Play-Doh? Wow, she's saying I've been using so many code
Plato?
names because I don't know.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Anyhow, that's the thing. So many code names because people were not ready to receive me. But yes, I am here and I want to work with you. It's Miriam. She's saying I'm one of Yeshua's Miriam's, the daughter. But he calls her Myrrh, like
the smelly, the scented,
the
smelly crendos.
They're starting to, you know, English is not happening very well for us anymore.
Like the oil and stuff.
Yeah, Myrrh, it's like frankincense, Myrrh. Yeah. That's how he calls her. So maybe we could use that.
I would love to have a channeled book from them on conscious parenting.
Yes, I was thinking about that, and also like the ways that all the techniques they used in the children. You know, I feel like this is coming at some point. I don't feel like I am personally ready to receive that information now, but I feel like at some point it's going to come for me. Maybe it's coming for you, Ludmila.
Which of the children were most connected to their grandmother, Mary, and great-grandmother, Anna?
Well, Sarah had a strong connection with grandmother Anna, she's saying. All of them kind of had this because both of them lived so long and helped with the kids so much. Oh my God, so many of them are raising their hands. I can't say all of the names, but many of them. It's like everybody loves them so much. And one of the kids now that's a girl, she looks like 12, and she's saying that, she's trying to say grandma in her language, but anyways, she's saying grandma has the best stories about Baba, and that's Mother Mary. So they all kind of love them.
What is the story of the seven sisters? Is this something to do with Isis?
We had a channeling about this whole thing, right? With the Lemurian. Go to the channeling of the Lemurian mothers. Flavia had like, yes. We talked all about the seven sisters and the Lemurians, and I think maybe even how it relates to Isis, because there's a lot of that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we mentioned Egypt at some point with that. So there's a whole channeling about this. I think you're going to like it.
Who was Scotia, the princess which gave Scotland its name? Her grave is in Southern Ireland.
I'm asking if any of them knew her. one of the boys, the man's, he's saying that yes, it's one of the birth children as well of Yeshua. What's your name? He looks so much like Yeshua, by the way. It's like his whole DNA is Yeshua. That doesn't seem fair. I think that's Judah. He's saying yes. He's saying he is aware of that, and they do not have a connection with that story. But he was there for this part. He's saying he was practicing alchemy with someone you now know as Merlin at that time. That's why he knows this.
I feel connected that I may have had a timeline as one of the children.
I think so, yes. I think all of us, we will feel that at one point or another.
Personal experience is the truth. I wrote the book being about this in 2007. Yeah. Was the book from Yeshua or who? I wrote it as a wisdom to myself, and it felt that it was ever ahead of its time.
Oh my God, Flavia.
It felt that it was ahead of its time.
I like that you do not give up. You keep trying. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeshua is saying that it was perfectly timed. And how are you feeling about writing another one? And he's also saying that it was you, him, Mother Mary. There is some kind of Archangel Michael there as well. He says you know it. What are you talking about?
I love that you guys are all
yes, Plato. Yeah, thank you very much.
And trying
I like that you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Plato.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Or are you just copying the way she said it and we're trying to find it? I don't know.
Sometimes it's hard to know if you are like...
I'd love to work with her. It's Miriam.
Yeah, just call her in. She's ready for you, Alana.
I feel like we have so many questions. We could keep this going until 2021 non-stop. Can you continue the exploration of the family again in the near future?
Yes, we are going to do that. For whoever didn't know, we are writing a book with you and with Sarah and Yeshua and the whole family. Sarah is the one that is going to be speaking through me. I will most likely be in trance, so she will be telling the story herself. And then Flavia and perhaps someone else is going to facilitate this for us. So maybe if it is like a quantum alchemist, you can put me into trance and you can do like follow-up questions, and we're gonna do this live event. We thought we would only do like live and then you can't watch it again because it's gonna be a book, but we're gonna give a 7 days kind of period where you can access the video and watch it, and then we're gonna take it down and then you can read the whole story. At the end, we are going to be doing at least one session every month on 2021. We are starting December 24th. And we, so she's telling her story from the womb. We are, this week, maybe tomorrow, we are sharing you, it's true, we know. We are sharing the first, like the prologue.
Yeah.
Is that?
Well, the transcript of the first session we had.
Yes, we had a session with her and we have a transcript, and we are going to release that for free as well. So then you can read it, and she's already telling a lot there. There's so much about her own perception of the times, and how it was when she was born. And she is going to tell her perspective in 3 timelines. So I don't know exactly how she's doing it. We are flowing with it, but we wanted to make you guys a part of this experience with us. So then you can, like we are going to sit down and record this anyway. We thought we should bring people in. So then we can do like a part in the book where it's questions and answers. So maybe she's just going to come through. She's going to tell a part of the story. She's going to open for you to ask her follow-up questions. So she'll be interacting with you, and we'll be writing this book together. So she's going to tell so many stories, things people have not ever tapped into. She's saying so much about the alchemy. They are bringing a whole new perspective to this alchemy, to sacred sexuality, and the ways that they did it at their time, and how did she even learn it, because maybe we think about it now, it could be really awkward. It's like, okay, so did you watch your mom and dad have sex or something like that? So that thought, I'm sure it passed through some people's mind, like, how did they teach her? It's her daughter. So how was that? Some of us, we don't even want to talk about sexual stuff with our parents, but they learned that kind of thing with them. So how was it for them? All of them. So she's gonna tell her story before she was born. I'm sure she's gonna share the story. Or Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, whoever wants to come through, of the ceremony of her birth. It's like when she got pregnant with her. So there's just so much she's ready to share, and she's so excited. And we've been planning this for a while, and we didn't know how to do it. And then one day, I just woke up with Sarah and Yeshua, and they were like, that's how we're going to do it. We are going to bring people into this. And I'm like, this is so freaking exciting. So we are recording the first chapter of the book on the 24th at 5 p.m. our time. And we are very excited.
Yes.
They are so excited too.
It's going to be fun. And she makes us cry. Just saying.
Yes. Be easy on Flavia. I am.
Yeshua, you called me out. I knew in 2006 that I had 3 books in the series to write, and I'm feeling like the third soon. Do you want to tell me anything else about it?
He's saying we'll be writing it together. I don't want to give you any spoilers now. Yep. He's not saying anything else. And for him to not say something else. Wow, Suna. You shut him up. That's the first time I've ever seen this happen.
Let me know if you're looking for more facilitators.
That'd be awesome.
Yes. I feel like we are in a Monty Python movie where each one of the main characters plays several other characters, many fractals and aspects.
That's pretty much like it. Yeshua is laughing. He's like, ha, she got it.
Does anyone have a message for me?
Well, we're not really doing this today because it's too much. But yes, they do. Who wants to talk? Sarah wants to talk. She's saying, you are as sweet today as you were then. You have this beautiful, brilliant essence that simply needs to be watered, that needs to be, oh my God, this noise.
Sorry.
That simply needs to be worshipped, that needs to be appreciated. So show yourself that appreciation. And don't settle for less in your relationships. David, stop picking on your brothers. That's a very good one, Don. Coming from Benjamin himself. So I have some other ones here from Don.
Okay.
Let me see what Yeshua is speaking. Do we keep switching timelines through the day depending on where we direct our mental focus? He's saying more or less. Yes, you are always creating parallel kind of realities all the time, but sometimes you focus and ground in one. So your higher self will keep you more like centered in one. You can always be coming back and forth in every single second, but it's like there is this huge tube, and that's one timeline. And within that timeline, there are tiny little tubes, So those are like the ones that are tubes. I knew it would just take a little thing to make you break. So those are like less, quote unquote, less significant ones. Like, oh, should I have the vanilla or chocolate ice cream? You're changing timelines there. And then there is this bigger picture where you are living in all the time. Why are you being silly now? What?
I started feeling silly, wanting to laugh for nothing, and then you said tubes, and then you saw my face and you did that again.
Why is this happening?
God.
There was something here that he wanted to answer. The answer was no, and he wanted you to know.
Guys, when life offers you 2 types of ice cream, choose both.
Yeah. Swim in the ice cream. Some of the children, they're like, did you know didn't always have ice cream. We had to be like in very cold places to have ice cream. So enjoy your ice cream, guys.
Sucks to be you.
In the 613 timeline, were your heirs considered royalty in your day? And he's like, nope. I'm so sorry. I don't know if that was a noise in your head, but let me know. He's saying that they wanted to stay away from that role. They didn't want to play that role. They wanted to be normal. Sorry, guys,
Wow.
you failed. That's not happening. But so you know what I mean. Like they didn't want to be like, oh, you're better than us in any way. So they did not want to play those roles. In some timelines, maybe Sarah will even talk about that in her book. She was married to a king, I think, or a prince and then a king. I think it was a prince. I think he never got to be king. Yeah, he was it's like along the line. Anyways, and she got to be a princess. And then there is like, that's a timeline that is highly tuned into for people on Earth. That's one of the ones that people can probably find trace of the bloodline. But they didn't want to play their role, they're saying. So he said that that's the thing that I really, really, really never wanted to do, was to be in a place like that, to do that kind of job. So not his thing.
They were like nomads, traveling all the time.
Like
imagine them having duties. Like,
yeah, no way. He said he liked his freedom. He liked being
going
able
to battles
just
and stuff.
Yeah, that's so not the family's energy. At least not how I perceive at all.
What are they activating in us now? A few activations coming in.
Someone said, ooh, Ludmila picked on it. They are activating remembrances of God in your body, they're saying. So that meaning whatever it means for you. So anything specific? They're saying the remembrance of us in you. That's what being highly activated now. So you might be getting more of that awareness, of your own fractal from this family. You might be getting visions of that timeline for you. Or just like the inner knowing and that feeling that you belong there and you feel like way more connected with Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, with us, So there is something there for this. And they're saying that it's very, very particular to each and every one of you. It's not only just this huge kind of, it's personal.
I had memories of a ceremony in which Mary Magdalene convinced and birthed a version of her own soul. I believe it was Sarah. I felt the perspective of both mother and baby at the same time.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Elizabeth, and I think it's just like this strong, like they both come from the same stream of light. That's how they're putting it. It's like before they incarnated, they were already like one thing. It's like Isis, for example. They're both Isis. Let's say that's what it is, for example, or Hathor, or whatever it is. So then they incarnated in different ones. So when we connect with that one before it fractured itself into, not fractured, that's not a good word, before it kind of was present in both. Am I making any sense?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we can tap into that.
Puts holes in
Yeshua is saying, Yeshua is saying, everyone, don't get too attached with the idea of fractals. He's saying that, let's live here, present here, grounded here, and trust what comes to you. By that he means not that you are not a fractal of this or that, but don't doubt it. That's what he means. So when you're feeling into it, I feel like I might have a connection with Sarah, but then I feel like I might have a connection with Mary, and then I feel like I might have a connection with Elizabeth or and Rachel. He's saying just accept it. Yes, you have all of them. If you feel it, if you can think about it, you have it. It's there. Work with them. Don't be too like trying to make sense of it. It's like, oh, so maybe she birthed herself, and then she was birthed as her brother and her sister. He's saying that don't confuse yourself. Let your human be human, and just accept the when it comes to you. He's saying many people are having this because a lot of people have like a Yeshua kind of vibe, and he's saying that's a hard one for people to integrate. They don't want to because they feel like I might be above them or whatever it is. So it's a hard one for people to see in themselves. So sometimes it's easier if they see that as a Benjamin, for example, or as a Judah, because it's an essence of Yeshua. It's there, of course, this child. So we feel that. So when we tell you, okay, so you have that, and they, so that makes more sense because it's close to Yeshua, but not him yet, So he's saying, accept what you can accept now, breathe into it, and know it's perfect as it is. Don't worry too much about the semantics. I don't know that word, Yeshua.
The Pleiadian collective Larkma.
Say it again. We all want you to say it again. Please. We're begging you. No,
Larkma.
Good.
Told us that cane sugar is not a natural substance to Earth and was brought here by aliens to control humans through addiction to it. Stop it, shatters our souls.
Like this.
I had skipped. Okay, puts holes in our light bodies. Did you use dates for sweets instead of cane sugar?
Okay, someone needs to chill with this. Whoever it is that is spiraling, okay, it's Myrrh. We're gonna call her Myrrh. No one wrote her name right, and I don't know if we got it anyways.
Myrrr, something like that.
Anyways, it's Miriam, the daughter. She's saying, no one impregnated anything in your planet with toxicity. The toxicity is in your mind. I'm gonna repeat it for you. She's saying she has a D kind of vibe. That you're very true. I'm gonna tell you again. Nothing outside of you, no mean boy or girl came to your planet, planted toxicity. The toxicity is in your mind. When you quiet the mind, when you allow yourself to be centered, you will forgive your ideas of toxicity and they will not harm you anymore. That's just what it is. She's saying it's extremely disempowering for anyone to think that a race stronger than you, more aware than you, would come here and do something to change your DNA, to change your light bodies, to mingle with you. That would put you in a place of a victim, and you are not a victim. You are God experiencing itself in a vessel. That's all that it is. So, besides that, yes, we did use dates to sweet our thing. She is funny, isn't she? Because that's the question. Yes, they used dates. They used all kinds of dried fruits. Actually, Yeshua loves dates so much, and Flavia didn't like them or didn't know them. And
I didn't like dried fruits or any.
Now she's being possessed by Yeshua.
Oh my God, I love dates so much. I've been eating them like crazy.
Send her some dates, guys.
Tomorrow there's gonna be like
no. Give people a week. She loves dates. Yeah. I was
laughing before because she wrote puts holes in your light bodies, and my mind just saw puts, and puts is a way that we say in Portuguese to express like, oh,
damn it.
Yeah. And I read it, and I was with that energy when I started reading the question.
Yeah, we're not laughing. We are never laughing at you unless we tell you we are. Yeah. We are just silly, both of us.
Yes. I've been getting so many chills with all of these conversations of the Sarah book.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like it's gonna activate people like crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what happened?
Oh my God. The chat is crazy. I was late, but did they talk about Sarah being the actual Christ? Do they have an expectation for how this could change history?
She's going to talk about it. I feel like maybe she's going to talk about it this month on the book. She's going to explain all about it, but we can say yes, she is the Trinity. And it can really change history for sure. But they are always aiming for balance. That's what they have to say now. I
am so super, super excited to feel a part of it. And I love when you get silly. I feel that love is said earlier, like Jesus possesses me in love for you.
I love it.
Yeah, just Jesus to help you take us like, with the silliness.
Yes, I can't believe we didn't have
right?
to pee. I peed
Right.
right before this, but yeah.
Same. Maybe it's getting too long for them. That's why we're getting drunk.
Yeah, maybe. My eyes start getting really red. It looks like I
Like-
just smoked, and not my life. Semantics.
Semantics is corrected.
Very smart. Very, very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she likes the way you write it, Alana. She's saying, let's call myself that.
Yeah.
Mer.
I feel like, and it feels short for mermaid as well, which I like. I feel like she really wants to say the toxicity is you.
She's like, come on.
Oh God.
She's like, you are already channeling me.
Baby,
I knew I could, trust you, Alana.
Mer has a Lilith in her.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So this is a story about being by some aliens is not true?
Well, if you think that you are the aliens, then it is. But there's no power above you. If you are being like kidnapped by aliens, it's you playing a role for you. They're not going to say that something, they're not going to tell you that this or that isn't true, It's what you want it to be and what you believe could happen for you. But if you trust that it's that you have the power, nothing can ever harm you, And even in your awareness, because nothing truly can ever harm you, they can go forever on these guys. Mm-hmm. Fresh dates are amazing. I've never had that. Where did you ever find that? Right. Yeshua is like, yes, it is amazing.
Where do you get it?
How do Yeshua's children interact with each other over various timelines? They all have this beautiful, loving relationship, this communion. They would always have like moments where the family would be together. And in so many ways, they were all super connected anyway, even if they were traveling, and some of them never really get to know each other in physicality. They had this kind of soul family kind of vibe, that they can relate to. They're saying it's pretty much like what we're doing now, but we didn't have the technology to do it. But they would always have like the period of time where they had the most of them all in one place was when they were traveling the north of France, they're saying, close to Germany, and in between that area there, that's when they had like 19, 20 of them all at the same time. And then they kind of started like separating, splitting and living in other places. But they would always have at least a meal a day where they would all sit together and chill. And Mary Mag's like, nope, it wasn't chill. But they would all like be together like that. So of course that some of them related better, with each other. They had more things in common. So they would like, or their age was closer or whatever it is, their connections. But anyways, I feel like I forgot to mention when they asked about the miscarriage, because I just saw that other being, the one that got to, go places and stuff. The two souls that were in Miriam's womb, they decided to go before they were born because they couldn't stand being separated in two bodies because they were so close together. They merged and then they incarnated in one body. And I felt them when we were, I was working through some stuff related to this. And I recognized them. Well, in that scenario, I'm Mary Magdalene, and I was pregnant with the twins, and then I had the miscarriage. One was Ludmila and one was Flavia. So then in these lifetimes, you were okay with being in different bodies. But then she had the miscarriage, and then when she got pregnant again, it was the same merged soul, and I thought that was so beautiful.
I thought Ludmila so.
I know. Me too.
The Alsace area, yes. That area, the Alsace area.
Yes, exactly.
So I misspelled trafficked as in human trafficking. It's okay, thank you. I was trying to remember how to pronounce that word because I didn't
Yeah.
Remember? I made a pumpkin pie just sweetened with dates. It took a lot of dates. That sounds delicious. I love pumpkin pie. I'd definitely
Come
like
on.
to have a class or channeling with more.
Yeah, I think we could totally bring her in.
Yeah.
I think that people that are watching this are going to relate better, you know. Maybe if we put her on the poll now, she wouldn't win. But anyways, we can do it anyway.
An important with connections brought dating still on the branches.
Oh,
wow.
that is so cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's popular.
Date trees.
That is
That's
so
super
cool.
Send us some, right?
Mar reminds me of the female character in Interstellar, whose name was also Mar, short for Murphy.
Yes, that is true.
So true.
That is really true. She's saying maybe she was inspired by me.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I wrote that movie. Maybe I've been using so many code names. She is excited.
Well, I think they called her Murphy.
Yeah, it's Murph.
That is so cool. So true. Yeah, no more questions there?
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Tired.
Yeah, we can. It's been 2 hours.
Let me see if he wants to answer anything else.
Okay. Keep talking, people. Let's interact. For many beings, Christmas is about celebrating Jesus and what he means to them. Is there a message to children have to share about this?
Eu tô lendo um negócio,
I'm
você começa a
sorry.
falar.
Sorry.
Just a second. Because I'm reading things on my phone.
He says you don't have to do all the questions.
Is it helpful to know where these beings are reincarnated on Earth at this time? He's saying all of you are. All of you can relate to a part of my family. If not my children, someone else or me. Yeshua is answering. Is it helpful to know our relationship with our past lives? He's saying it really depends. It's very personal. And for some people, it really, really helps. For some people, at least not where they are right now, it's not important for them. So it's just like feel it for yourself. He's saying that for you, it was really, really important. For me, it was to, some people can really get a lot of perspective healing from knowing those other aspects of us. How can we best use our past relationships with Yeshua to enhance our current life experience? He's saying, remember the love we share. And he's not using it in the past tense. Pay attention to that. He's saying, remember the love we share, the compassion, the union, and the respect. That's what we can get from that time and implement in our lives now. That flow that they had.
No.
Yeah, thank you.
For many beings, Christmas is about celebrating Jesus and what he means to them. Is there a message the children have to share about this perspective?
They're saying it's sweet, it's lovely. And even though it could get, some of you even triggered about all the stories behind this story that created this whole perception that Baba is so above you that you are not deserving of redemption. Only he is, and only he is the savior. So they're saying, even though these stories have been very overplayed, it's time that we give options to other things. But also, it's cute. It's beautiful that you get to unite and have a meal in his name every year. How loving is that, they're saying. It's been 2,000 years and you're still doing it, and I think you will still be doing it for a very long time, because it's an honoring of everything he represents and not only who he is. He wasn't even born at this time, but it doesn't matter. In a deep level, your soul knows that you are celebrating yourself. You are celebrating the Christ within you. And you are celebrating that beauty, that grace within you. So even though you are putting his name places and his face and his... well, he's not even his name, to be honest. Someone else said. You are still celebrating this. And he represents so much growth and so much perspective and so much trust and so much awakening and awareness and so much love that we are always there with you. Every time you are gathering in his name, we are with you because we want to be able to celebrate him too. And to be honest, I would celebrate him every day. I would celebrate him in every meal. That's the collective of them talking now. I will celebrate everything that he is and everything that he's done and everything that he represents for us personally. So we are talking now about the actual father, our Yeshua. We would celebrate him in every meal, and we knew that. And we knew that every single second we spent with him in his presence was blessed and was love, and that we were held and that we were supported, and that it doesn't matter what we chose and what we did, he would always, always, always have our back. So for us, he was the best man alive. And if you can celebrate him at least 1/10 of what we experience, you are lucky beyond measures. And I'm not gonna cry because he's crying. And you can look at me if you're crying, Yeshua. Go sit somewhere else because I'm gonna cry if I see you cry. Distract me.
Mm-hmm. Any advice on helping my son be more confident, or should I just let him be?
Self-love is what Sarah is saying. Help him learn to love himself exactly as he is, with all of his little quirks and everything. And that's the best you can do as a mom, she's saying. And know that he will have his own things as well, and his own things to brave for himself. He has his own path. So trust that as well.
You mentioned how two souls could incarnate in one body. I'm a twin. Would my twin brother be a fractal of me?
Yeah, you could be like, fractals of each other. That can happen or not, How do you feel about it?
Okay. Good.
Yeah, let's just read.
Yes. Thank you both so much. This was one of the most informative channelings I remember. And thank you all to Yeshua's family for blessing us in so many ways.
Yes, so beautiful, right?
Talk to you later more.
She's like, I'm gonna come to you.
Oh my God.
She's gonna bug you. So do you guys have any last messages? I think this last one was really good.
Yeah.
They're saying thank you so much, and someone is speaking for them. That's Benjamin and Sarah, both of them. They're saying thank you so much for allowing us to come through. Thank you so much for being ready to hear from us, because we have so many seeds everywhere, and then they are looking at you. It's like so many of us come from that lineage and we don't even know because there are so many, right? So they're saying allow yourself to enjoy this time and be present with it, because you have the front row seat. No, you are the show. So allow yourself to be present with this and to love this, and know that all of you chose different families now, they're saying. And sometimes you don't feel as home in your family. So know that we are here for you. We are your family. We are you. And you have this family in your pocket at all times, and we live in your heart. So whenever it is you might be feeling unsafe or unheard or not home in your own family, know that your family is here. You chose your path beautifully, and it's serving you exactly as it is. It doesn't mean you can't rely on us, because we have your back and we love you so much. So thank you so much for allowing us to come through and for opening the door so then we can speak even more. We can't wait to share our story. They say they love you.
Yeah.
They're very sweet.
Very sweet. It was so beautiful to hear them speak of their father with such reverence and love, right? This has been an incredible channeling. Thank you, Annie, for bringing them through, and thank you to Yeshua and Fem.
You're welcome, everybody says.
Thank you to our physical and non-physical members of the family.
Yes, thank you so much. This was amazing.
Yeah.
And as long as Flavia said it would be, I was like, I think it'll be like an hour and a half today. And Flavia's like, right. It's Yeshua and the kids. But I thought this was amazing. It's easy for me to bring them through, of course, because I've integrated this for so long now. So it's not that hard. And I'm very excited for what's to come. We'll probably post tomorrow we'll post the PDF so you can read the story,
Yes.
the thing with Sarah. She wants to post it on the website. So we're going to do that, as she's saying. So we're going to share a link so you can read the prologue of the book, and we'll share the information too. If not tomorrow, because we're tired, the day after tomorrow. And this weekend we have a dual channeling, a duolingual or bilingual. Why?
Channeling.
It's so hard to speak. It's on the 19th, right?
Yes, at 3 p.m.
9/11 now.
London time.
Yes, we're going to channel with Diane Luz. We did that last year a couple of times, I think. So she translates the channeling with Yeshua. I'm not sure if I'm going to transfer or not, but maybe I will. Yeah. So I'll probably trans-channel Yeshua. And
it's going to be Spanish and English.
Yeah, I think it's always so much fun. She is so much fun. And she has so many questions. And Yeshua loves the whole, the whole, party kind of thing. So we're going to do that on the 19th. And we'll post all about that as well.
It'll be public on YouTube. No, I don't know. Yes.
I think it'll be Zoom.
I think it'll be
Zoom. I'm not sure. We're going to let you know all about it. But we're going to have...
We need to check with her.
Yeah, Coach Diane Luz is great. She is. She's amazing.
Mary and Milagros.
Right? Yes, both of them. So it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be on the 19th. I believe it's free and you can donate if you want. We're going to get all the information and we're going to post about this week. So then we can, have you guys in the details. So
it's going to be fun.
Yes. Thank you guys. I love you all so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see
you before I forget, the discounts are still up.
Oh, yeah.
And I had one more thing that we had to say.
Well, we talked about this, so if you want to buy
the ceremony on the 21st, right? Yes, you can buy this also. But there's a ceremony on the 21st.
We mentioned it was in the beginning. I don't remember. It was here or the tea time. But we're selling this at a very discounted price. It's €5.
Yes.
So if you want to have this, not this one, but you will get
the digital version.
One. So then you can print it for yourself and you can have a Yeshi.
As big as you want.
Yep. In high quality, you can just PayPal the €5.
I see Dom printing like a huge one.
It's like above his bed.
Yeah. Making the wallpaper of it.
Exactly.
That would look very cool.
That would look very cool.
Yeah.
Anyhow, guys, so thank you very much for always supporting us in everything we do. We love you guys so much, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Yay!
Yay!
Bye.
Bye.